There's 3 acts to every story: the beginning, middle, and end. In a standard screenplay, the beginning and end are about 25% each, which means that the middle makes up the other 50%. There's a reason the second act has been called the mess in the middle. It's no man's land, where writers get lost and stories go to die. So why do countless stories die in Act 2? Let's examine 2 theories on maintaining momentum in that messy middle act, and look at a few films that do it well. In his book, Save the Cat, Blake Snyder says that around page 30 of a feature screenplay, after the catalyst and break into Act 2, a B story should emerge. Let's call this the bonus story. It's an opportunity to break away from the main narrative and explore the story's central themes.
And that is why, effective immediately, I am shutting down the weapons manufacturer division of Stark International.
In Iron Man, Tony Stark reevaluates his business priorities and starts having romantic feelings towards Pepper Potts. Their will they, won't they plot serves as a bonus story. While a lot of films use a love interest as the B story, in romantic comedies those become the A story, and other external conflicts become secondary. For example, in You've Got Mail, the bonus story is Tom Hanks' character building his business, while Meg Ryan's character fights to save hers. In The Holiday, the B story is Kate Winslet's character befriending her elderly neighbor and helping him get in shape to accept a Lifetime Achievement Award. In turn, the neighbor reveals a key theme to Winslet's character arc, that she should be the leading lady in her own life.
I can tell, are a leading lady, but for some reason, you're behaving like the best friend.
The B story launch is followed by the fun and games section of a movie, which according to Snyder is roughly pages 30 to 55 and delivers on the promise of the premise. It's where we see a lot of the comedy inherent to the story setup. For example, in Frozen, this is where Olaf sings a song about wanting to experience summer.
Probably getting gorgeously tanned in summer.
It's completely unrelated to the plot, but an enjoyable little number that also gives us a break from the A story. Which brings us to the midpoint, or the main event that the story has been leading to. The protagonist's initial mission is shifted in a major and unexpected way. Shrek wants to slay the dragon to reclaim his swamp, but then he falls for Fiona and has to fight to get her back.
Ow! Ow!
In The Graduate, Ben Braddock has an affair with Mrs. Robinson, but then that shifts to him trying to win back Mrs. Robinson's daughter, Elaine. In Jaws, Brody has to swallow his fears and set off into the waters with Hooper and Quint to hunt down the shark. In a legal narrative like Aaron Brockovich, where the protagonist is uncovering information, this is where they discover that there's more to the story than they originally thought. The conspiracy goes all the way to the top, and more people are impacted. From that point on, our protagonists should be fighting for their life, metaphorically or literally. This is referred to as the bad guys close in. New negative information is presented, there's another step in the process, the protagonist needs one more thing, or the antagonist, who didn't expect the protagonist to succeed, throws a curveball. Instead of just throwing Belle's father into the mental ward to get Belle's attention in Beauty and the Beast, Gaston storms the Beast's castle with his angry mob.
We'll lay siege to the castle and bring back his head!
Marta, tell me everything.
In Knives Out, after Marta confesses about her part in murdering Howard to ransom, a building explodes and a car chase ensues. Then our lead character has an all is lost moment, quickly followed by the dark night of the soul, which is the emotional climax of the film. Without a feeling of hopelessness at this point in the story, we aren't going to be as invested in the outcome.
You're done.
If it's obvious how the story is going to end, and there's not a sense that the hero maybe won't succeed, why finish the movie? So if the bad guys closing in is a monumental setback, the all is lost beat is the gut punch feeling of defeat, and the dark night of the soul brings us a more reflective moment or conversation about why the protagonist thinks the situation is irredeemable. Then often the mentor, friend, or fairy godmother appears to offer some wisdom and encouragement.
Stay close to me.
Always.
In Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, when Harry Potter sacrifices his life and the war against Voldemort seems lost, Dumbledore appears in a vision to inspire Harry Potter to keep fighting. Whether it's aided by another character or not, there needs to be some sort of revelation or epiphany to get the protagonist back on track. According to Snyder, after all those beats, we can finally move forward into Act 3 and wrap up our narrative. Christopher Vogler lays out a slightly different path through the troublesome second act in his book, The Writer's Journey. In his version of events, the break into Act 2 comes as our hero crosses the threshold into the new world. As the ordinary world has been established in Act 1, the new environment boasts new rules the hero must learn to succeed on their journey. In Wonder Woman, Enchanted, and Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle, the characters have to adjust to their new worlds, which means dressing the part, learning the lingo, and navigating the role they must play.
So there's got to be a way to access our... Oh!
Our hero is tested, they meet allies, and encounter enemies. In The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, when the kids cross the threshold into Narnia, they have to learn about their new environment, including the ongoing conflict and who they can trust. The beaver couple becomes allies, advising the children of the situation and warning them about the White Witch.
2 sons of Adam and 2 daughters of Eve will defeat the White Witch and restore peace to Narnia.
Next, the protagonist approaches the Inmost cave. This is when they make final preparations. Study, train, do some reconnaissance, reorganize the group, or explore a romance before the central event takes place. For example, in Good Will Hunting, subconsciously, he isn't ready to do the emotional work he will later unpack with his therapist. After that comes the ordeal, which leads to the reward. Similar to the midpoint, the ordeal is the event or goal the protagonist has knowingly been working towards, as opposed to the unexpected complications they will face later. For example, in Cool Runnings, the ordeal is the Olympic trial. That's what they've been training for. The reward is them qualifying to compete in the Olympics. Like a lot of sports movies, the team hasn't won the whole competition, but they've qualified, which is that first significant step. According to the hero's journey, this is when the protagonist claims their reward, something they've earned or learned, and carry it with them moving forward.
They go around the block. They come back. They go around again. They just go around and around.
This is also referred to as the seizing the sword moment. The reward can also be necessary information leading up to the final battle in the third act, like Luke and the other rebels learning about the Death Star's weak point in Star Wars: A New Hope. From there, our hero makes their way on the road back to the ordinary world. After all, this adventure is temporary. Dorothy needs to go back to Kansas in The Wizard of Oz. Mike and Scully need to get Boo back to her world so they can have their lives back in Monsters, Inc. Now, these are just 2 theories on structuring the dreaded second act of a compelling story. And these structural beats alone won't save you from Act 2 without dynamic characters, strong dialogue, a unique world, and an interesting plot. But these elements won't save your script either without structural beats. So use these beats like signposts as you traverse the unforgiving desert of Act 2, and maybe, just maybe, you and your script can make it out alive. This video is sponsored by my podcast Of Mice and Men and Monsters, where Dungeons and Dragons elements are dropped into the worlds of classic novels you either love or completely avoided while in school. The Dungeon Master is a high school English teacher who guides us through these familiar worlds and familiar characters. So far, we've played through books like Frankenstein, Moby Dick, Robin Hood, The Great Gatsby, Macbeth, and Oliver Twist, and we're only just getting started. The popular site Gizmodo included us on a list of 6 Dungeons & Dragons actual plays that are easy to start listening to, and Yahoo just recently had us on their list of 11 Dungeons & Dragons podcasts that roll a natural 20. If you like D&D, games, comedy, literature, or just a couple of friends acting like idiots and having a good time, then please click over and listen to episode 1 here on YouTube. I'll have it linked below. And you can listen to the rest of our episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like it and share it with a friend. Just in some way, if you could please engage with this video, so that way we can persuade the algorithm gods to push this video to more people, so that way more eyeballs can see it. The algorithm definitely hasn't been my friend as of late, so this is a reminder that if you're not subscribed already, please do so, and also click the bell below, so that way you don't have to rely on them to share my videos with you. That way you can regain control of what you watch, and so if you're subscribed to my channel, if you want to make sure you never miss when a new Entertain the Elk video comes out, then make sure you click that bell below. That way you'll always be notified whenever a new video drops. Thanks everyone again for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.